Alright, I've only got about 10 minutes before my alarm goes off to go and eat the chips that I put in the oven. So try not to screw this one up, I guess. So I've had a nap, managed to have a nap. Parents went out to the gym, workmen moved to something quieter. So yeah, snoozed for an hour and a half. But this is after having gotten up early, walked Hope, watered my plants, potted around for a bit, done a slap down of one of those feet people, and then, getting exhausted and needing to collapse once everyone left. Okay. So, yeah, napped for an hour and a half. That was good, but the bad part was I ended up dreaming about my ex. Now, that happens sometimes, and that's fine. It's a memory. The brain brings up memories occasionally, but the reason that it's shit today is today I'm feeling pretty down and pretty trapped in my life. And yeah, it just made me think about how if that relationship hadn't gone sour, I would have already escaped this life a long time ago, like 10 years ago. But no, he had to be how he was, and it was just not good. So yeah, no, like, it just got me thinking about that stuff, because back then when I moved out with him, I had been having trouble with my parents, like, quite overtly. I was aware of it, and I felt a need to escape. And sorry, I can hear noise again, and it's a bit distracting trying to talk. But yeah, no, I had been having trouble with my parents, and he was like, hey, why don't you come and live with me? And he made promises like he would support me financially while I was still while I was still studying my music degree, and, just support me in general and all this kind of stuff, and how great would it be? And I bought into that. Now, of course, when I got there, not only, like, he changed, he stopped being that sort of charming, bullshit artist. But, I couldn't get a job out there, so I had to keep coming back home anyway every weekend to go to my job to make enough money, because, we were paying his mum rent. And he did have a job at the time, but I think at some point he stopped working, and so, supporting me my butt. There was a bit of a gap between him having jobs and, yeah, so financially wasn't really a lot of support. And when he used to do that. He'd get a job for a bit, do it for a while, quit it after making a whole bunch of excuses and talking himself up, and then eventually go and find another one, and then, yeah, talk himself up, and then quit that as well. And I don't know, I think part of it is because he was one of those sort of charming, manipulative dudes. He was able to talk himself into jobs that he may not have been entirely, I don't know. There's one that I'm not sure he was qualified for, but I think just generally not suited. And it's kind of funny because he'd have that confidence, but he was a musician as well, and anytime he performed, he was so nervous beforehand. It was like, and he was a big guy, he's like twice my size, and would shake like a leaf. It was interesting to watch. Anyway, yeah, no, there were all these promises that got me out there, and then, I think that my memory's all confused, so I don't know when he got jealous of me being a YouTuber, like the attention that I was getting, despite him knowing that I was on YouTube before we even got together. Whereas I didn't know about his pot habit until well after we got together, and, I probably wouldn't have dated him if I'd known about that up front. But he hid it from me until, like, I was sort of invested in the whole thing and didn't really know how to react to it. Because I actually put a lot of effort into that relationship and trying to understand what I was supposed to do and all these kinds of things. And he would say stuff like, oh, relationships are about communication and compromise, but force me to do all the communication and compromise. And, like, whenever I asked him either how are you feeling or can you compromise on this, it was like, no. Anyway, no, main thing I was thinking about is just, like, I could have escaped this already, because as much as I talk shit about the relationship, there were some things that were not so bad. I think that's the case with all abusive relationships, is there's always something good there, otherwise you wouldn't have gotten into it in the first place. But the stuff that's crap outweighs it. And yeah, unfortunately, once I moved in with him, he just sort of, he took me for granted, which is kind of what my parents do. And yeah, it was sort of like his roll credits moment. Oh, he's got the girl, he doesn't have to put effort in anymore. And suddenly anything that's wrong with the relationship is my fault. So there was the gaslighting kind of thing. Yeah, it was just not good. So having those sort of dreams today when I'm feeling trapped. I mean, if I had stayed in that relationship, I would have just been trapped in a different sort of hell. Whereas, yeah, I don't know, at least here, you know, I was thinking about I'm not doing well in the situation at home with my parents, right? But it's sort of like I've got my physical, what would you say, like physical well-being or physical security versus my psychological well-being. Okay, so at home, my psychological well-being's not great, but the physical stuff, pretty good, because, you know, I got a place to live. I can do at least some of the things that I want to do hobby-wise. It's just, yeah, it's hard when people are around, and I'm sort of like, because they're walking around, and I don't like making videos when people are around. Yeah, I'm just feeling crowded and like trying to concentrate when there's noise and stuff. But like, you know, I can do a lot of stuff. I've got a place to live, I've got food, and, you know, all the basic physical stuff. That's fine. Okay, so that's the situation if I stay home. If I move out, and keeping in mind that I'm not in any kind of relationship, that and certainly not one that pretended to be supporting the way that was with my ex. He pretended until... Anyway, if I moved out, right, okay, what are the pros? The pros are, you know, sort of escaping things here with, you know, having a disabled brother, escaping my parents not understanding me and feeling the pressure to interact with them even when I'm having a day where I really could use support and they're just not giving it to me. So, you know, maybe my psychological well-being, there's some good things there, but on the other hand, with the physical well-being, I can't afford anything, so that sucks. Like, I'd escape, you know, it would suck. Fuck knows, I'd probably end up homeless. But on the other hand, like, so, you know, the amount of psychological well-being I'd get is not as high as if I stay here, have no psychological well-being, have plenty of physical security, right? Okay, but even with, like, half a psychological well-being, then you have to subtract because of the physical situation. So I get financial anxiety. I would probably have to live in some kind of a share house, given that I have, like, just the government giving me an income. Wouldn't be able to take my art, music, bonsai, dog, anything, and, you know, would just be in a different sort of hell. So moving out right now, there's just, it gives me nothing. So I'm better off staying home with at least this situation, because I haven't figured out any other way to escape. And if it's down low like here, I probably would be tempted to just exit the world, you know. So I've done a lot of thinking about that today, and yeah, just thinking about that opportunity that I tried to take, only to realize it wasn't the opportunity that it was, because I didn't have, you know, I was starting to run out of money there, I think. And then, yeah, things just got worse and worse. I'm sure I've rambled about it before, but thinking about, like, if he hadn't been that way, if he had been that sort of more supportive boyfriend that he gave the illusion of being, when we first started going out, and also later when he knew I was mad at him, those are the only times that he really behaved. You know, if he'd actually been what he pretended to be, things could have been good, but no, he had to come with all this, you know, playing his Xbox and blaming me for stuff, and, you know, just... Anyway, I'm running out of time. Like, there was a lot in that relationship. Shit, I've got, like, 30 seconds. Yeah, I guess I feel a little bit sad for what was lost there, because there are also things that he knew about me that I haven't really been able to share with anyone else, so that's kind of a big deal, and it's just like, why did you have to basically be a cunt along with everything else. Anyway, so that's a pleasant thing to end the thing on, because my alarm is about to go off and I'm going to go and have chips. Bye!